Minister, if I could ask you in relation to sanctioning the post of homeschool liaison officers to special schools, and if you'll make a statement on the matter. Come on.
Thank you, Deputy. You'll be aware of the fact that the DESH programme is the Department of Education's policy response to the issue of educational disadvantage, and the Homeschool Community Liaison Scheme is an integral element of the DESH programme. It's a school-based intervention which is provided to DESH schools to address the needs of pupils at most risk of educational disadvantage. And the role of the HSCL coordinator is to work primarily with the salient adults in the child's life in order to empower them so that they can actually support their children to attend school, to participate in education and to develop positive attitudes to lifelong learning. And central to that initiative is the identification of educational needs and the provision of a tailored and proportionate response to those needs through a range of interventions which are evidence-based, focused and structured. And so while the Department of Education undertakes the provision of resources for this scheme, the TUSLA Education Support Services, or TESS, has the operational responsibility for the Home School Liaison Scheme, providing training and support for coordinators nationally. It comes under the DESH programme and it's only for schools within this programme. You'll be aware, Deputy, that special schools receive significant funding and supports relative to their setting. And just to stress again, the departmental budget of 2.6 billion, which is over 27% of the entire education budget, which is going towards children with additional needs and towards special education in general. You know, I suppose the upshot of your question, and to answer it really, is the fact that that actual scheme, the Homeschool Community Liaison Scheme, is really only for DESH schools, certainly at present anyway. And the rationale, I understand, for that is that the special schools receive significant funding and support relative to their setting. So that is the reason for that.
And look, I knew that when I put down the question, I knew that was the case in relation to DESH schools only being, I suppose, able to avail of homeschool liaison officers. I'm quite aware of that, and I suppose what I'm asking here tonight really is that would be looked at and reviewed over a period of time. And I suppose just something I'm going to read, I lifted off the TUSLA website earlier tonight. Part of the role of the homeschool liaison officer is to enhance a child's educational experience, obviously, but particularly through offering family supports, parent classes, courses, home visits, etc. And I suppose that goes to the nub of the issue. You know, the parent is as much of the focus here as the child. And I suppose when you're dealing with children that in special school settings, that have behavioural issues, emotional and behavioural issues, might suffer from anxiety, you know, probably have an intellectual disability of some shape or form, be it profound or mild or otherwise, you know, those parents are dealing with those children 24/7, 365 days of the year, and I do believe there should be scope here that homeschool liaison officers.
Thank you, Deputy, and I think it's important that you raise the question, because I think you know, we have to consider these matters, and certainly the department does. Just to stress again, obviously, that the scheme, as you know, and you mentioned yourself there, you can see that it does come under the DESH programme, and it's only at present anyway for schools within that programme. But it is also important to point out that special schools receive more in capitation than a DESH school receives in combined funding of capitation and DESH. The special schools have substantially more teaching and S&A staff than a similar sized DESH school. So even where some schools may potentially come under the DESH banner, their funding due to their special school status is actually better. Special schools as well may already have greater family or community interaction and support due to the student profile that they have, and they may also have other additional supports assigned to them, like bus escorts and therapists and nurses.
I suppose, Minister, look, the simple truth is here, kids with some of the needs that I've described earlier in these special school settings, there's never going to be enough resources for them, let's be honest about it. Whether it's kids being needed to be helped feed, peg feeding, whether it's, you know, helped to be toileted or whatever the case may be, the harsh reality is that there will never be enough resources. You know, the staff in those settings do a massive job and are to be commended for it, but the parents at the end of the day, which is the focus of the homeschool liaison programme, I suppose many times we forget about the parents. You know, they're at home, as I said, 24/7 with those children, and I think we lose sight of the fact that they are the most important person in those students' lives. So I would, now that both ministers are here this evening, yourself and Minister Foley, I would ask that, you know, in time for next year's budget, that at least some analysis will be done in this. I understand that special schools get so many resources, but it's comparing apples and oranges with mainstream and DEIS schools. So I genuinely think that there is merit in doing some kind of a review and looking into the matter.
To reassure you, Deputy, I know that this is and has been looked at, and certainly is being looked at, and I will certainly bring your contribution in relation to further analysis back to the department. I mean, the staffing ratios in special schools are significantly lower than in mainstream, and that's really intended to ensure that the needs of their students can be met effectively. But you're quite correct; they are our most vulnerable children, and above and beyond, mainstream anyway. And these are special schools. We have about 8,500 children in special schools. You know, some families of students in special schools who have a sibling attending a DEIS school may already have access to a homeschool community liaison coordinator. But I know that that scheme is an integral part of the DEIS scheme, and certainly we will be considering all matters pertaining to it in relation to special schools. Thank you.